Hey YouTube, coming at you with a deck profile. This is my Chaos Stun deck for September 2011. Um, I tested it at locals yesterday. I changed it up a little since then because I didn't verse a lot of graveyard heavy decks. My two biggest matchups were I versed Twilight twice. I went 3-2, by the way. I'm sorry. I went 3-2 with this deck. I versed Twilight twice. I won against one and then I lost against the other. The other Twilight player knew how to play better than the other one, and he had a lot more control, which was a fun match overall. Though it was really close. So yeah, Twilight I versed twice. I versed a Spellcaster control deck my first round, which wasn't that hard because I of course run a ton of Spellcasters in this. Um, I versed TGs, which was very bad matchup for me because I have graveyard control, but obviously they don't need their graveyard at all, and they can run over my 1900 beaters with Tengu with Horn on it, so it was a really bad matchup for me. And then, last but not least, I versed Gravekeepers, which wasn't that bad of a matchup. It got close, but I think the highlight of the game was he went Wonder Wand onto Recruiter, and then got, I don't know what that is. It's like +3 or something like that. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Gravekeepers was a fun matchup too because the guy was really good at it, playing them. But anyway, onto the deck list, I guess. This is one of two decks I'll be running for September 2011. If you haven't already seen my video for Goblin Gadget, just look on my channel. Overall, it's a fun deck to play. Alright, so anyway, first up you have one Gorse, because it stops OTKs and it's a dark target, which makes it amazing. One Blackluster Soldier, because this card is so good this format. It's not as good as it was a long time ago, but this will win games if you play it right. You have to really, really, really know how when to play this, though, because if you do it when they have a ton of back row, this is asking to be bottomless or warning. So you just got to be careful when you use it. 3 Chaos Sorcerer. Same reason as Blackluster Soldier. They're really good. Triple Thunder King Ryo. This card did so much work for me today. I only ran it at 2 of my locals, but it did so well that I'm going to run it at 3 now. Thunder King shuts down Searching, it shuts down Duality, Charge, Gold Sark, just everything. And not only that, it negates special summons, which already makes it amazing, especially at a 1900 beater. 2 Effect Veiler. Ran 3, but it was really, really overkill. So I just put it down to 2, and it worked out much better. The other thing about Effect Veiler is that you can drop a Trish with this deck very easily. And I won a game just because I dropped the Trish on the guy like mid-game, and then attack directly, which won me the game, which was nice. 2 DD Warrior Lady. DD Warrior Lady provides a light target if it doesn't have its effect go off, and otherwise it pretty much just sits there and is annoying. Because if they attack into it, they get the monster removed. This is great for getting rid of things that are bigger, and it's good monster removal in the deck that doesn't have a lot of pushing power. 2 Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. This card is amazing. I didn't verse a lot of decks that needed graveyard control, but this card right here shut down the Twilight players that I versed. I won my first game against the good Twilight player because of this card, and I won my match against the Twilight player because all I did was get this out and then just go off and remove everything. Also, another great thing, you can't mess, your opponent can't mess with your graveyard either. So if you go Reborn and they go Crow on the target, oh, you can't because obviously Kaiku's on the field. He just sets up amazing plays and keeps your shit protected because people will remove your dark and light targets. They will side and Crow against this deck. Next up, to Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is absolutely amazing this format. In any deck, I would assume this card does work because it literally just goes to the fence, sits there, and all you do is special summon off of it. You can even special summon another Summoner Monk. And then you have 2 Summoner Monks. And then when your hand's full of spells, you can discard for both of their effects. And then it's funny. 2 Doomcaliber Knights. Now, I ran this at 3 originally. It was a bad idea. People will bait out the effect of this card all the time. It's good at 2 because it also stops stuff like JD and Chaos Sorcerer. So that's why he's here still. Only at 2 though. Can't run him at 3. It really does clog up your hand, and it really does become a problem when they bait it out. Next up, for spells, you have Triple Pot of Duality. Duality just helps with consistency. I don't think I need to go into it that much. And you don't special summon a lot with this deck. Till late game, at least. Some staples. Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, and Book of Moon. Kind of just needed. Double MST, because it's MST. And double Smashing Ground, because you want to be able to just move stuff off the field. You don't make pushes, but it's great to be able to get stuff that's bigger off the field than your stuff. Another thing, too, I only run 2 MST right now because I ran 3 originally. Really clogs up the hand. Even with Summoner Monk in this, it just becomes a dead draw half the time, and it's the worst top deck ever sometimes. And 2 is fine because not a lot of people are running back row. The only deck that I versed that ran, the only 2 decks I ran versus that I ran a ton of back row against were Gravekeepers and TGs. The Gravekeeper player got wrecked by Heavy, and so did the TG player. I lost against the TG player, but only because I didn't draw into my Heavy. And even when I sided the MST, he had 3 Phantom Hornets in hand. He even showed me his hand after the game, like, I had 3 of these in my hand, and I'm really sorry I did. It was ridiculous. My trap lineup's pretty standard. I have Triple Threatening Roar. It's not even that standard. I think this should be standard, though, in my opinion. This card saved my ass so many times. And on top of that, when they go MST, you chain this. Okay. When they have heavy set, you go this. Alright. You make them waste their resources so much. Got Double Compulse, because it's also chainable to MST, and this card puts out work, especially with everyone's setting. Really great. You have the Solemn Brigade, 2 Solemn Warnings, and 1 Solemn Judgment. Thought they were going to be bad this format, but I've been able to bait out people's MSTs with Threatening Roars, and then I just set these mid to late game, when they're kind of actually needed anyway. Then you got some standards. Starlight Road is a standard this format. I don't care what you say. This card saved my ass so many times. And it is so easy to bait out someone. When you draw into this and you still have your Solemns and your Mirror Force and your Torrentials, all you do is you set them, you have 3 or 4 back row, then they go, okay, now it's time to Heavy Storm. Alright, whoops, you ran into my Starlight Road, and now you're screwed. And also, Mirror Force and Torrential. Mirror Force I thought was going to be bad, but it actually worked out pretty well. It triggered more than I thought it would because no one expects it. Everyone thinks this is not here anymore because of all of the MSTs. Same thing with Torrential Tribute. You already know my extra deck from the other video. If you don't, it's incomplete. The only thing that I added was a Black Rose. I'll start showing my extra deck when it's finally complete. But in the meantime, this was my side deck for the day. I had 2 Banishers because shit that runs off the grave hates this card. Twilight hated this card. Oh my god, it was great. This also gets priority over Necro Valley, which is helpful because when they do their ridiculous Descendant plays, this will either stay on the field and Recruiter will pretty much be gone. Won't get its effect. 2 Crevice. Sided this in definitely enough. It really helped against the Twilight matchup. Really great. Really, really great, honestly, because it helped a lot. 2 Intercept Wave. This is an awkward card. I don't see why people don't use this in their side decks. Pretty much, all Synchro Monsters on the field are changed to defense position, and then they're all returned to the extra deck during the main phase. So when they go off with their Herp Derp plays, you go, oh, Intercept Wave, and they all go back to the extra deck. And the amount of minus they go off of this card is absolutely incredible. It's also chainable to MST, which makes it great. 2 Core Destroyer. Core Destroyer put out work today, again, against the Twilight matchup. 1 Ally Salvo, the Twilight matchup. It's really, really good. 2 Cyber Dragons for the Machina and JB matchup. Didn't verse JBs or machines, but it's still really good. It's a great beater too. I was going to main it in this deck just because, but it seemed to clog up the hand otherwise. Breaker and MST, part of my side deck. Side in my other MST, and Breaker's just really good if they have a lot of back row. This helped me against the TG matchup. It helped me win game 2. 2 Noblemen of Crossout against the Gravekeepers, against plants, flip effects, herp derp, shenanigans. This card helps against. So yeah, that's the deck. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any suggestions, PM me. So yeah, I went 3-2 in my locals with this. I'll definitely be improving it. I already did. The one I ran before was maining. What was it? Oh yeah, I didn't have Torrential in the deck, and I had also been maining 1 Banisher, which was a mistake. I should have just sided it because against TGs and yeah, pretty much against TGs, it didn't work too well. So yeah, thanks for watching YouTube, and don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe.